our whole society is based on an energy system. It isn't based on one particular technology, one particular source of energy.
It's very diversified.
It's very diversified, and the global system is. And the importance of energy is really, everybody knows it's important, but no one knows how to talk about it in a comprehensive, systemic way. And I think Eric is absolutely right that no country, the United States isn't unique in this, has really come to terms with this. And during the campaign, a lot of slogans are going to be thrown out. But in reality, we're talking about a fundamental restructuring of the American economy to start with, and of the global economy. No matter how one tries to square the circle or look at it, carbon-based fuels, fossil fuels, have some time limit to them. And at some point, if it's not in 20 or 30, at some point, these fuels, which are so pervasive, and for very good reason, they are excellent fuels. They have very high density. They've served us well. Cannot go on indefinitely.
Yeah, it's a finite resource.
Well, but it's not just a finite resource. It's a finite resource where the expense related to that resource goes up as the resource begins to become less. And we talk about, you mentioned energy independence. Well, that may be good for one country, but every country can't be energy independent. You wouldn't have a global system. So this is a much bigger issue. It's a real global issue. If you begin to overlay the independence and the security aspects with the environmental aspects, and it's not just global climate change, it's air pollution, which is a major health issue today. This isn't something in the future. You begin to see that the system we have really is not sustainable in any sort of viable way for a long period of time. But we also know it took a very long time, 150 years, to put this system in place, and it's going to take a very long time to change it. So the notion that there's a silver bullet out there, solar, fusion, nuclear, is just simplistic and also very misleading. What's likely to happen, what should happen, is the beginning of a process using the fuels we have now, making them as efficient as possible, and transition to a structure which we know is more stable and sustainable. And that will cost much more money. And this is what Americans don't like to hear. The reality is energy is cheap. When you think of what you pay even for gas, and what fraction of it is of your total monthly budget. It's less than the mortgage usually. It's certainly less than education. We're used to a society with cheap energy. I would suggest that I would love to hear some honest politicians say that era is not sustainable anymore. And the price to maintain that is getting to be higher than the fuel itself is costing in terms of what we do internationally to protect our military, all of these things. So that and of course, people aren't going to say that. I think if they did say that, and if people were educated, which is sort of our job, I think, they will understand it and begin to make the changes necessary to put a more rational system in place.
David, you look like you had something to say real quickly.
Oh, just lots of interesting comments here. I think the concept of bridging technologies is really important. We have these kind of old world technologies that are polluting and running out, oil, coal, and we have things that are definitely in the far future going to be really great, like solar. And then there are things that are coming online right now. The number one low-hanging fruit that we need to go after is conservation. So there's some very important initiatives like leadership in energy efficiency and design, that applying it to our buildings. Obama says a little bit about that. There's also natural gas is a clean fossil fuel that we have quite a bit of, and we can bring that online. And then the final one is wind. Wind is is commercially viable today, and people are going after it in a big way. People like oil billionaire T. Boone Pickens is investing big time in wind right now. So you can kind of pick and choose which technologies. It's very clearly, as you both say, a system, and we have to realize that. And the question is, how do we make this transition? So I think there are certain things that we really have to go after right now, and then others that we need to encourage for the future, and others that we clearly need to start phasing out.